let's start working out. What? It's too early for that. What's up, Fin fans? So, you can tell by the video, Miami Dolphins start their offseason program. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to tell you what they're doing. Then there's a quote I want to talk about. And then there's a few other things I want to talk about. And then, yeah. So let's jump into this. Miami Dolphins start their offseason workouts today. And you might ask yourself, well, why? How are they doing it so early? They haven't even drafted any players to work out, all this stuff. It's because with new head coaches, you get a jump start over the other coaches on getting to know your players, all that stuff, yada, yada. So teams like the Dolphins, the Browns, the Cardinals, you know, every team that has a brand new head coach gets to start training today. Now, I'm going to tell you what that entails because, like when I said that coaches get to know their players, not necessarily the head coaches and the offense coordinators and defense coordinators. It's more of the conditioning coaches. So this is what it entails. No helmets, no pads, obviously, because even in training camp and in OTAs, they barely use helmets and pads. And that's kind of why like the play of the NFL teams kind of dropped, and it normally takes like 3 or 4 weeks for you to actually see what this team can do because there's no helmets and pads for like 60% of the time. So no helmets, no pads, 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, strength and conditioning only. So not real football. There's no X's and O's. There's no route running. I'll talk about that in a second. 90 minutes max on the field, and then the only coaches that are there are strength and conditioning coaches. So essentially what this is it's a lot of these players coming in, showing good faith to be with the team, showing that they love the team, want to be on the team. Again, I'll talk about that in a second. Working out, getting themselves ready for OTAs, for training camp, and making sure their body's in line that they could go through the full season. So essentially right now what they're doing is, you know, sprints, route running, but no throwing, and stuff like that. Now, if you notice what I said with the on-the-field stuff and they don't really do football stuff, this is around the time of the year where the quarterbacks and the wide receivers and all these guys get together and start training with each other, start throwing around, like how Jarvis Landry said Ryan Tannehill never did that, or, you know, how, you know, Baker Mayfield and all those guys, actually it was Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, you know, all those Browns guys got together and started, you know, working out together. This is around the time they did that because this is when strength and conditioning starts. So for the Dolphins, being that, again, they have a brand new head coach along with the Cardinals, the Bears, all these teams with brand new head coaches, they get to start working out now and start getting their bodies in line now. So you might ask yourself, okay, that's cool, but, you know, what's the point? Or that's cool, but who really cares? It also shows a good faith with the players and the organization to show up for something so mundane. So a lot of vets tend to not do it. Like if the Patriots were a new team that had a new head coach, which is probably not going to happen for another year or so, Tom Brady wouldn't show up for this. I don't think Cam Wake really ever showed up for this. You know, see what I'm saying? Like vets don't really show up for these things because they'd prefer to be with their families during this time, especially because you only get to see your family for a limited amount of time during the season, during training camp, all that stuff. But you get younger guys showing up for this stuff, getting themselves ready, getting themselves conditioned. And one of the guys that showed up that is very important and shows a very good sign for this team is Xavier Howard showed up. He showed up. I have, if I can, I'll pull a video up here. He showed up. He said hi to Kenyon Drake. Jakeem Grant showed up. Kenny Stills showed up. That's what I got so far. I'm pretty sure a lot more than just 4 dudes showed up. But those are like the predominant ones that I noticed, and especially Xavier Howard. It really shows that he's not going to hold out this year for a new contract, and it also shows that the Dolphins are in works to getting him this new contract. I honestly think that the Dolphins are going to sign him to a new contract before the season starts. I think I've said this time and time again that they are doing this season differently and they are building this team differently, and they're not going to let their players play out their rookie contract, and then threaten them with a franchise tag, and then eventually just let them walk because another team offers them too much money. I think the Dolphins are going to re-sign Xavier Howard this year. The next thing I want to talk about is a quote that came from Adam Gase. So Adam Gase was interviewed, and they asked him about the Miami Dolphins last year, because last year we started 3-0. And then injuries started happening like crazy. William Hayes went down. Well, this happened before 3-0, but William Hayes went down. Kilgore went down. Sitton went down. It's like we started slowly falling apart. We went 3-0. They asked him what he thought about last season. And this is the quote that he said. I think if we didn't have the locker room that we had last year, we're not 7-9. Those guys stuck together. They kept fighting. Guys would go down and guys would try to step up and do the right thing. We just kind of ran out of bullets. We were headed into the last 3 games of the year. We were in it. It just didn't work out the way we needed it to. He's trying to say that, the last 3 games going to that Minnesota Vikings game, we were in it. We were in it. That was after the Miami Miracle. That was after we beat the Patriots. We were in it. We could have still made the playoffs. If we won, I think, 2 out of the last 3 games, we could have made the playoffs, and we would have been in the playoffs for 2 of the 3 years that we had Adam Gase as a head coach, and he probably would have gotten fired. Now, there's a lot that could be said about this team last year, and there's a lot that could be said about Adam Gase. Now, I've heard a lot of things. I heard a lot of things from credible sources. I've heard a lot of things that have been in the locker room. I've heard a lot of things that players have said. I've heard a lot of things that players have said to people about Adam Gase and the reason why he got fired, the reason why they lost the last 3 games, all of that stuff. I'm not going to really speculate too much on it, but Xavier Howard should have been out 1 game. He was injured. He got injured, but he was fine. If you remember a lot of last season, they kept saying, like, when can he play? And then we would see Xavier Howard practicing, and then all of a sudden he wouldn't play, and then we'd see Xavier Howard practice, and then he wouldn't play, and then the reporters would ask him, is he playing this week? And we'll see. And I'll practice. Game time, he wouldn't play. Like the Minnesota Viking game, he practiced, didn't play. Like, Adam Gase made some really bad decisions. Again, there's a lot of things I've heard. You could say that maybe the players gave up on him. They didn't like what he did, what he was coaching, who he favorited. Because you could see when this team plays and plays hard and plays for somebody, they win. Look at the Patriots game. Look at that Chargers game in 2016. Look at the Rams game. Like, there was a ton of games where this team, when they get together and they play hard, they win. And then you also see this team tend to give up on coaches because they're not being respected. So, you could take what you want from it, and you can take, you've heard things as well out there. And you can say, like, if it's true or not, or if it's BS or not. But Adam Gase he's very stubborn, he's very hard-headed, and he needs to mature. He doesn't give a crap about the defense at all, so we'll see how this all pans out for the Jets. I think that's why he brought in the defensive coordinator that he did with the Jets, but we'll see how that all pans out. But just thought I'd let you guys know about that quote, because it's funny that he thinks that they ran out of bullets. They didn't run out of bullets. They could have made the playoffs last year, but too many bubble screens, he didn't dedicate to the run. It's a lot that caused that to happen. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you guys think about the Dolphins starting their offseason workouts early. Let me know what you think about the fact that Xavier Howard showed up. If you like that shows good faith. If you honestly think that they're going to re-sign him like I do. Let me know what you think about that Gase quote, because that Gase quote is ridiculous. But yeah, comment below. Let me know what you guys think of everything. Let me get to your comment of the day. And this comment comes from Tommy. And he says to me, what you're saying makes no sense. You don't want to get a quarterback in the 3rd and later rounds. You don't want to have to go through what you went through with Tannehill, a developmental project. You have to get one in the 1st round, a top-tier quarterback. Then you build in the trenches and get your defense together, and you draft a quarterback next year in the 1st round, and you trade that one that you're not going to keep. Simple. So what Tommy's saying, because in my last video I said I'm not taking quarterback in the first 2 rounds, maybe the first 3 rounds. I would draft a quarterback, yada yada yada. And he doesn't like that. He says it makes no sense. You take a quarterback in the first round every year until you get your quarterback. Which, Tommy, if that's your philosophy, cool. I'm not going to bash you on it. I'm just going to give you my opinion on it. But that's your opinion. And that's your philosophy. Mine, on the other hand, is if you take a quarterback this year, right, in the first round, say you take Locke or Haskins, which I don't think talent-wise can compare to like a Tua or a Herbert, but that's, again, my opinion. But you take Locke or Haskins, right, and you even said in your comment, why would you take guys later in the round? You'd have another Tannehill on you, another developmental project. But if you're taking Locke and Haskins, they have a lot of things that need to be worked on. Haskins has very bad footwork. He has a weird throwing motion. He was also surrounded by a lot of great talent in Ohio State. Locke, same thing. He needs some developmental, and he needs some help. Also, you're going to take these 2 quarterbacks, right? You're going to put them on a team that now doesn't have a defense and it doesn't have an offensive line. So a lot of the excuses people use for Ryan Tannehill was he had no offensive line. So essentially he's getting murdered. So you're now drafting a quarterback in the first round who's going to get murdered. But like you said, sitting behind Fitzpatrick. All right, cool. So you have this dude sitting behind Fitzpatrick for a year, a first-round talent that you drafted, having sit behind Fitzpatrick, and then next year you'll draft a quarterback again in the first round, but you never saw what you had in that first-round pick this year. But then again, if you're like, well, then we'll play him, behind what? You have no offensive line, you have no defensive line, and you used your first-round pick on a quarterback who needs to develop. Yeah, they're first-round talents, but they're not good enough to play behind no offensive line and no defense. If the team goes into the season the way they are now without drafting a number 1 first-round defensive end or defensive lineman, this defense is going to be horrible, and your quarterback is going to have to play games where the running game is gone because you're down by 14, 21 points, and you need to have your rookie quarterback throw it 40, 50 times a game, and he's going to get murdered. And this is why I don't take a quarterback in the first round this year. There's no defensive line and there's no offensive line. Now, granted, the defensive line, if we can get a stud D tackle and at least 1 edge rusher, this defensive line will be fine. But all of a sudden, you don't have that stud D end or stud D tackle because you used your first pick on a quarterback that is going to die. He's going to get murdered. Do you see where my mindset is at now with not wanting to take a quarterback in the first 2 rounds? Because he's not going to develop. He's not going to thrive. You're going to have another David Carr situation where he's getting sacked 200 and something times and his career goes down the toilet because he didn't have a chance to prosper. See what I'm talking about? Like, I understand where you're coming from. Keep drafting a quarterback till you find the one. But if you notice, the Browns did that, and they constantly sucked. They constantly were taking quarterback in the first round, and they constantly were reaching for these quarterbacks in the first round, and they sucked. You got to take the best raw talent player in that position. Don't take a quarterback because you need one. We have Ryan Fitzpatrick. He is going to play quarterback. We also have Falk. We have Ruddick. We could get a quarterback, like I said, in the third or later rounds. But for us to take a quarterback in the first round and miss out on some of this elite defensive line talent, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, you're going to put a rookie quarterback out there who's just going to get killed because he has no offensive line and his defense can't stop anybody. But then you're like, well, then we'll have him sit behind Fitzpatrick for a year. So you have him sit behind Fitzpatrick for a year. You don't know what you have in him, and then you draft a quarterback next year, and then all of a sudden that's 2 first-round picks you use on a quarterback, and none of that goes towards the needs of offense and defensive line. That's where my mindset is. Tommy, I respect your opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's how you feel. Take a quarterback first round every year till you find the one that you want. That's your opinion, and I respect that. I disagree. I think you got to build these trenches up so that when you get your quarterback of the future, he's not being run around town and he's not being sacked like crazy, and he has a chance to develop and prosper. But Tommy, thank you so much for the comment. Keep commenting. I love, if you guys have a difference of opinion, that's actually like the best. Like, I know a lot of you guys, I will talk about stuff in my video and you disagree, and I'd be sure to like talk to you. And a lot of times when you're reading this stuff or when I'm commenting back, you can't tell how I'm talking. Like, this is how normally when I'm commenting to you guys back, this is how I'm talking. I'm not angry, I'm not mad, I'm not being condescending, I'm not, none of that. I'm talking to you guys, trying to see where you're coming from so I can understand and we can maybe change each other's minds to learn from each other. So be sure to comment below. Before I get into my normal spiel, the Madden situation. I said yesterday to you guys, should I play Madden now, wait, or play at all? And you guys, like 98% of you guys want me to play Madden. 98% of you guys want me to play Madden now. A good amount of you want me to wait till Madden 20. A few of you guys don't want me to play Madden. One of you said, I don't like Madden, don't play Madden, keep it to the gaming channel, keep this Dolphins, Another one of you said, don't play Madden on here, or I don't mind you playing Madden on here, but don't let this become a Madden channel. I'm going to play Madden on here. I've decided that because a lot of you guys wanted me to. But this is always going to be this. This is 90% this. This is 95% this. Breaking news, picks, preview for the game, post-game reactions, draft, OTAs, training camp videos, all of it is this. There's just going to be Madden videos every once in a while. I can make a Madden video where I rebuild a team in my likeness through Madden. I can make an all-time Dolphins team in MUT and play that. I could play you guys in Madden. We could do challenges in Madden. We could, I could build a team through just opening packs. Other YouTubers do that. There's different stuff I can do in Madden, especially when it gets really dead and boring, kind of like now or after the draft and between OTAs and training camp, where all of a sudden the team gets about a month to go on vacation. That's when I could throw some Madden, like once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. Whenever I'm just like in the mood to play Madden or I think of a Madden idea, I'll throw it in there. So it's not going to be like all of a sudden this is a Madden channel. No, it's just, I know a lot of you guys like to play Madden, watch Madden, and I have some ideas. So it's going to be sprinkled in here and there, but this is predominantly 95% this. So don't you worry, pretty little heads. But be sure to follow me on Twitter. I tweet out about all of this stuff. I retweeted everything in this video. I retweeted with comments about the fact that Greg Schiano just was like, nah, I don't want to be the Patriots defensive coordinator because they have to find somebody to step in for Brian Flores. So go ahead, follow me on Twitter. Be sure to check out the Bit Boys. Yeah, I'll be playing Madden on here, but we play other video games there. A lot of you guys want us to play different games on there. We're looking at it. We're going to do it. So be sure to go over and check out the Bit Boys. Give this video a thumbs up because players are in the building. Players are training. Players are working out. Players are getting their bodies ready for the season. Next step is draft. Then it's OTAs where you start to really implement things. The coaches get to meet the players. It's going to be, this train is taking off, guys. You better hop on the train. So yeah, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. If you want to be in the giveaway, which I'm going to make a video about that probably at the end of the week. If you want to be in the giveaway, got to be subscribed and then do the other things I'm going to ask of you so I can pick you guys. But I will see you guys probably Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday. I'll see you guys. That's in the next video. So like I said, I got a lot planned. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, share the channel. Let's help this sucker grow. It keeps growing and it's blowing my mind. But I'll see you guys either Wednesday or Thursday. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.